Welcome to our brand new podcast, Trey Geek. We've got me, your hostess, Althea Rain. We've got Halo Smith and Yori Inoku. This is a brand new podcast. We've never done anything like this before.
We have no idea what we're doing.
If you're watching this, you can see our socials at the bottom of the screen. We've got our YouTube channel, Trey Geek. We've got our Rumble link, and we've got our Twitter @ we'll post these in the description as well as on our channel in the bio, so you guys can find us on these 3 different sources. We probably should introduce ourselves to everybody. Like I said, I'm Althea. We were all born in 1985. We were actually all born within about a month of each other, about 5-6 weeks, give or take. I'm the middle child, apparently, of this group. September 21st, 1985 is my birth date. I grew up in rural Wisconsin, outside of a town of maybe 11,000 people. Out in the countryside, I had no other neighbors except for one string of houses to the south of our house. We had a river behind us, woods in the north of us, and a cornfield that separated our little dead end way from the countryside highway. I grew up having pets. We had dogs and cats. I was kind of sheltered, did not see a whole hell of a lot of media, but mostly because we didn't have cable. I lived way too far out in the countryside for cable. I was able to get satellite TV when I was about 9 or 10 years old. We had limited channels on that TV, so like I said, I kind of grew up sheltered just as a sheer result of availability. I did have game console of an SNES and later on NES. Wow, I reversed that. Actually, it's supposed to be NES and then SNES. I'm an idiot. No one accused me of ever being smart, you know.
No. Oh
Um,
no.
but I love video games, I love movies, and I love books. Halo, your turn.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Halo Smythe. Everyone just calls me Halo. I am a streamer on YouTube and Twitch. I play a variety of games, so I guess you call me a variety streamer. I grew up in a southern town that was a suburb of Atlanta. And when I was young, it was a very rural area. And as I got older into my teens and into adulthood, it became a very big city. So I got to had to transition from being like in a rural southern town to being in almost like a mini city into teens and adulthood. Um, I also was fairly sheltered. My parents were Southern Baptist. Well, no, Independent Baptist. Um, and as a result, I always tell people if it came out before 1996 and it's not on Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, I don't know about it. So if there's a movie or something that's older than that, there's a good chance I didn't see it when it was popular. Um, so I have a lot of catch up to do media wise when it comes to anything from the late 80s, early 90s. Um, because yeah, I was pretty sheltered, but I did have consoles. We had a NES. We also had an SNES. My parents divorced in I guess like 1994, so like I had consoles at both houses, but I never really had my own. So I had 5 siblings, so they're always my siblings' consoles. I have 4 brothers and a stepsister. So they were. It was always my brother's consoles, with the exception when the N64 came out. I did get one of those of my own. Um, so it was always like just getting to play. It was always like I wanted to play games, but I would have to like sneak opportunities to play them on other people's consoles. So I guess that's why in adulthood I really got into gaming, and uh now that I can, like, independently buy my own consoles and computers and just play them freely whatever I want. Um but I did have a few friends I bonded with over gaming in high school. I was a member of a strategy club um, at our high school where we played like Magic the Gathering, would watch anime, play games like Risk and Dungeons and Dragons, and also like video games. We would have LAN parties where we'd all bring our computers in and play like Unreal Tournament and Quake 3 together. So I did have somewhat of an experience of gaming in high school. Um, so yeah, that's about it for me. So I guess I'll
Mhm.
pass it on to Yori.
I forgot to mention that I'm an only child. She mentioned siblings, and I forgot to mention that I was going to.
You're the only child, but I'm the baby now, and it's my turn, okay? So, so I'm Yuri. No, you can call me Yuri. I'm like the baby of the trio. Born September 23rd, 1985. Puerto Rican. Uh, Born and raised there until I moved to Florida, 2015. Oldest, have a younger brother. We grew up and we did have our consoles. We had the NES, the SNES, Nintendo 64. Basically, most of the Nintendo consoles we did have them. My parents divorced when I was 11 years old. Um, but luckily, even though I think I was sheltered in a way because I went to a Catholic school. It was like from home to school, and I never went out as much. I think I grew up with the classics because my mom did manage to get a satellite or what a cable TV. So I grew up watching the old cartoons like Hanna-Barbera, um, which I love, and I'm getting the collection soon, hopefully. Um, I love anime movies. I didn't get, we did get the PS1, but I never got the consoles. After a long time passed, my first console, which I paid for with my own money, was the Xbox 360. I have the 360, I have the Xbox One, and I have the Xbox Series S. My husband gave me the PS4 as a gift and the Switch. So I have pretty much most of the consoles at the moment. Like Halo, I do watch anime as well. TV series, movies is very diverse. I don't like the usual famous anime. I don't really care about One Piece, Naruto, which might explode in the comments if people like those because I don't really care for them. Um whew, I have a lot of friends that have wanted me to watch those anime, and I'm like, no, no, thank you. But other than that, what else can I say? I don't know. I think that would be it for me and my introductions.
Wait, how many siblings do you have since we're carrying this through?
I have one. I have one sibling, a younger brother, who was in the military, and now he's just living close by, 30 minutes away. Yay! Which is close to Veterans Day, so um, congratulating him on being a veteran. Early, early congratulations from my brother.
Now that we've introduced ourselves, how we got to know each other. I have actually known Yori on the internet since 2001, actually. So we're celebrating 21 years of knowing each
21 years.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually seeing each other face to face, like,
Never actually met in
but
person, but she's like my sister from another mister, okay? She's my mind
heck yeah,
twin.
yes.
In
We
my
used. our sentences so much before. Oh my god,
Well,
that was ridiculous.
Here's the thing. So I said in my intro I was born September 21st, and she said in hers September 23rd. So she's literally 2 days younger than me. And when we first met, we didn't automatically start getting to know one another. We were more focused on the activity that we met over, which was writing stories with one another. And so I think it was about, a year after we started writing stories that I decided, you know what? I need to know who this person is. I have been writing with this person for the longest time because we had never spoken to each other over voice. We had never gotten to know one another. Because of her at that time screen name of Harry Potter, I had assumed that she was a guy. So when I asked, I'm like, we've never gotten to know each other. What's your name? Like, where are you from? And then she says her name, Maria, and my head started spinning. I'm like, wait, what? I thought I was talking to a guy all this time, and I'm talking to a girl. And then I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. Sorry, catfish. There you go. I catfish before catfish. It was famous.
She accidentally catfished.
Yes.
Oh, I remember. My email was Secret Harry Potter. That's why. At yahoo.com.
Yeah. Her screen name was Secret Harry Potter. So at this point, I had been assuming I was talking to a dude, and so it's not her fault. I made assumptions. I was the one that made an ass out of you and me. So it was my fault that I got catfished.
I was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, wait a second. I've never told her my name. So she probably thinks I'm a dude. So let me just say that. Hi.
Yeah,
It was
so
funny
we
though.
decided to just get to know each other one day, and then I find out that she's literally 2 days younger than me, born in the same year. And that was what blew my mind away. Because we already had so much in common. We'd already been pulling similar ideas in our stories. And so now we were like coming around as mind twins with one another. And I had already known that her English wasn't as, I would say, refined as anybody who'd spoken English as a native language. She would use certain tenses incorrectly that I've never
Yeah.
seen anybody who was a native speaker use. It was always just kind of off, and I had noticed that, and I had been helping her with that English, so I had already figured out that she was not a native speaker, and that
Actually,
just
English went a little better because of you.
well, I'm glad. But
Yes.
so I kind of helped gear her towards refining her English, and we just kept getting closer and closer as best friends. I've never actually met this woman in person, but I we can go months without talking, and then when we start talking again, it's like we never stopped talking.
It's like and it's true. It's like we still do twinning stuff now and then the
Ending
same
up with the
tablet
same
we just got.
tablet. Yeah, saying the same things right there. And okay, so that's how we got to know each other. And then Yori and Halo only recently actually met themselves with each other because I knew Halo first, and because I was a YouTube streamer for games for a while, and when I met Revo, I noticed that there was a Halo coming to visit his streams. So I met Halo when she was visiting Revo's streams.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
I think I met Revo raiding his streams because I used to do raids at the end of my streams. And
Yeah.
I think that's how I found Revo. And then I just kept coming back to his streams, or I'd come back every now and then and raid him. So
And then you started finding because he was recommending my channel, and you've rated my streams a few times too.
yeah,
That was how we kind of got to know one another. I subbed back to her and thanked her for the raids. I didn't have enough followers to raid her really, although I tried a few times. I think, but After that, there were a few times when she invited me and or Reva to kind of play games with her. She tried inviting me to play Fortnite. I still regret that decision. Well,
She
I
played
would play
Fortnite one
Fortnite.
time with me.
I played
That's
I
it.
played exactly once and I was so bad at it. I was so bad.
It's a really
Uh,
hard game to get good at because
yes.
it's not like a death match where you respawn and come back and fight. It's battle royale. So when you die, you're dead, and so
Yeah.
it takes a
Yeah.
lot of commitment to like actually get good at that game because you can't practice. There's no way to really, you know,
Yeah.
practice
You have to play and die multiple times just to
to get a little bit of
uh
practice in. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I played it once. I was not a very big fan of it, but we tried other things like some of the card games, Uno and whatnot. I think there were a few other times that I played a game with you guys, but I don't remember what it was. I know.
Yeah, I think we reconnected because we hadn't talked in a long time, and then I invited you to play Left 4 Dead because I was on playing streaming Left 4 Dead, and I saw you and Chris had it, and so I was like, oh, and they're on Steam right now, so let me invite them to play, and you joined.
I was already back to working as a delivery driver at that point, and I was like, coincidentally, I had that night off for some reason. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can play. And then we had to start working out schedules because I generally did not have off. I still won't have off most Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays because of the nature of my delivery driving. It's food, and most people want to order Fridays through Sundays. We had to kind of work out a schedule, and I was able to switch my schedule around to get Tuesdays off. Sometime last January or February, I thought, maybe Halo might like to play the Resident Evil games with me. So I actually bought, because they were on sale, I bought Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 for Halo. And we've been slowly working our way through both of those games ever since then.
It seems like it's very slowly. We've been doing it.
Well, what's funny is like sometimes something will happen with your work where you have to cancel, or you have to go out of town, or I have to make a cover for somebody else who's not able to work. So it's like suddenly it's like boom, 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 like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I thought I had to work this one Tuesday, so I had told you that we wouldn't be able to because of that. And then I'm able to come back and I'm like, yes, I can actually stream because my boss got the dates wrong. And then you're like, but I just got extra work that I have to do. I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. And then coincidentally, in the next week, you had to take off because you went out of town.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, crap.
It does seem like it's been happening a lot, so.
But we're
And more so
finally.
when you live like different states too, so
Oh yeah, that definitely doesn't help. I live in a state like that's literally generally about 3 hours behind you guys for half the year. My state, Arizona, does not observe daylight savings time. So when y'all fall back, y'all are only about 2 hours ahead of me. But then when y'all spring forward again in the spring, you're going to be 3 hours ahead of me again.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we've got, Florida and Georgia as all three of our states. So it's like completely different for everything. So anyway, back to getting to know everybody. I've been saying for a while that I kind of wanted to do a podcast, and I know Halo has been as well. And Yori has recently had a podcast of her own that got kickstarted. So I kind of came up with this idea like, dude, what if I brought them together and we did a podcast? Because I think we have a lot of differences between us. One of us is Boricua, while the other of us are pasty white. One of us, one of us has a different idea of regarding religion. The other two of us don't. We all have different backgrounds where we grew up. We all have different amount of siblings. One of us has none, one of us has a lot more. So with all of our differences, I figured we could come up with a podcast where we talk about things and come at it from different angles. And considering that we're all born in the same birth year, we all have, the same opportunity of age to say, yeah, we've been there.
Point. We all like should have a similar memory of like culture and media and things like that because we were all pretty much born at the same time.
Within about 5-6 weeks of each other, yes.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Oh
yeah, I'm
gosh.
gonna remember 5 whole more weeks than you do.
Exactly.
You guys
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying is we're so close in age that we all have the same opportunity of memories of how we grew up and what we had access to.
Yes.
It would be different if we had somebody, say my mom's age, who was born in the 60s and had at least a good 20 years on culture.
Right.
Or even my husband, who is 9 years older than me. He's got a definite difference in what he remembers, especially since he was also born in a different country as well and completely had a different upbringing.
The end. Are you telling me Reba is 9 years older than you?
Yes.
My boyfriend's also 9 years older than me.
What?
We have that in common too, I guess now. Holy crap.
That's hilarious.
Well, here's the funny thing is my dad is 10 years older than my mom, and my dad's dad was 10 years older than my dad's mom. So that kind of ran in the family.
Boyfriend's mom and dad are 9 years apart, almost to a month the same age difference as me.
What?
Yeah.
So we
Like
have
his
that
mom
in
was
common
born
too.
in yeah, his mom was born in September and his dad was born December 31st. And I was born in August and he was born in September. Or no, he was born in January, sorry. I was born in August and he was born in January. So, like, we almost have the exact same age difference as his parents have.
Yeah, so, we've got
Maybe that's just a good age difference for partners. I don't know.
well, it helps that men happen to mature differently too. Like
Yeah.
most men our age are still growing up at this point.
Oh no, my ex was older than me. He's still a child, and no. So yeah, they do mature differently, but
What is
not
the
all of them.
age what is the age difference between you and your hubby?
1 year, a year and a half. It's funny because he has an older sister who is a year, almost a year and a half older than him, and she's born in 85. He was born 86. I was born 85. My brother was born 86. So we have like it's the same basically the same household. Is the older sibling is the sister and the younger is the brother, so it's kind of funny on that end. I don't know how to.
Halo, are you and your boyfriend gonna be getting married?
I've never really been big on the whole marriage thing. I guess it's because like we're neither of us are religious. There just doesn't seem to be like a lot of internal pressure in our relationship to get married because we just don't believe in like the religious side of it. It's more of like just a legal agreement. So yeah, probably eventually.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the medical aspect, it might be beneficial for you guys at some point,
Yeah.
especially if one of you were to, God forbid, get sick, you know.
Yeah, I think that if we do, it'd probably be something like that that would drive us towards getting married. Is just like the legal benefits of it. So,
But how long have you guys been together as significant others then?
uh, a long time. Since 2007.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like 15 years.
Yeah.
I've been with my now husband since 2017, and we got married in 2018. And then Yori, you got with your husband how long ago?
Uh, November 2016. We got married on 7/14/21. So, a year and a half, almost, no, a year and some months ago. And we celebrated our anniversary on July.
So there's another difference between us. Halo's been in a significant relationship for longer than, geez, both of us combined.
Yeah, I know.
What can I say? I'm just really likable.
And I've been married the longest.
Yes.
But Yori was actually in the relationship before I got into a relationship, so.
So you got married the fastest.
Yeah, I did. Look, don't get me wrong, I love my husband, but I also needed to get his insurance. It was
See,
a matter
yes.
it was a matter of
Yeah.
health for me that I needed it, because even now, even with my job right now, because it's not technically a full-time job, and even let's say, even if I moved full-time with them, they're a small family-run restaurant. They're not going to be able to provide me an insurance option.
Right.
So I needed the insurance because I was having a health issue. I had torn my meniscus in 2017, and I was dealing with a significant knee problem that I really wanted to get to a doctor for and get fixed. So we ended up getting married the fastest because of the need to get on his insurance. And even then, it still took us like a year to fight his insurance to get me on it.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was an uphill battle. It was like every single time that we tried to do something else, they had like more paperwork or more of this, that, or another thing that prevented me from becoming part of his insurance. So the marriage thing had to happen before that could even happen. And then we had to fight to get them to recognize, hey, we are legally married. I deserve to have his insurance as part of my beneficiary. So
Holy moly.
so I didn't end up getting to have my knee surgery until October 2019. More than a year and a half after we married.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I don't regret marrying him. I absolutely love my husband. I'm happy with him. But we did push the marriage forward faster so that we could try and get my knee taken care of.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think mine was because he proposed the year COVID started, so it was 2020 on Valentine's Day that year. Before everything closed, so we ended up having to push so much. One, my parents were not, like, my mom was in the wedding, but my dad couldn't come in because Puerto Rico had so much COVID restrictions. It's ridiculous, just whatever. So he couldn't even leave his work because if not, he wouldn't be able to work, you know, once he came back. So I didn't want him to be out of a job for 2 weeks without freaking pay over there. So it wasn't like doable for him to be in my wedding, even though that's one of the, every daughter wanted his parents there, right? But at least my mom was there, and we even tried to do like a video call, but the church we were at, because my husband wanted to get married in the church, it was only 14 people. We weren't a big party at all. But I couldn't even do a video call for him at all.
I didn't even have a proper wedding dress. I didn't want a proper wedding. I just wanted to get
Mhm.
married in the courthouse. Because of the fact that I live in Arizona now, most of my family is still abroad in the rest of the United States. Like, I've got family in Wisconsin. My mom is living in Missouri at the moment doing her job. So it's like, you know, I needed to be able to have my people come in, but it's like, what's the
Mhm.
point of having like a destination wedding at this point? Because it's like
Yeah.
either we're gonna have to fly to Wisconsin to have a destination wedding of ourselves to get my family there, or we can just say screw it and just have a courthouse wedding. And
Yeah.
that is what we ultimately did. I got myself a really nice looking dress from Torrid uh, that was like $80. It cost us about $80
Really?
to get the wedding license. And then my dad and my mom flew in, and his parents, his brother, and his brother's girlfriend all came. So that was pretty much all we had there. But then we had an interesting turn of events at the actual courthouse. The day that we went in to get married, the judge um, actually was hosting a youth court case. Apparently, some minor had done something wrong, and their jury of his peers was a jury of other teenagers. So
What?
they had a trial going on for this for whoever was there, and because they were in a current recess of it, they actually had all of the kids sitting down as our witnesses to our
Oh
marriage.
wow.
So
That is so cool.
so our little courthouse wedding turned into an actual wedding with an audience of teenagers. And
Oh my god.
so they got to see their first wedding in a courthouse. We went through the vows, you know, the I do, I do. We had our witnesses sign, but we got an audience and we got an applause from the kids who many of them were just like, oh, that's so sweet, you know. So it actually turned out to be more of a wedding than we had actually anticipated it would be.
That's funny.
And then
Yeah.
we had a reception as just the family down by a casino that's near us. And they had this steakhouse that was just absolutely to die for. The food was amazing. My dad insisted on paying for all of that. And then we went and gambled for a little bit. What was really funny about that is we won $200 at the gambling thing, which
Oh,
basically
look at nice.
covered our entire wedding. So we
They
were
always
like,
say the wedding party's supposed to pay for the weddings, so there you go.
well, yeah, my dad insisted on paying for everybody's meals, but everything else, it was just a really great day. I did not anticipate for my husband to win like $200 at one of the slots, but he
So
did.
you went to a steakhouse for the wedding?
No,
Like,
we went to the courthouse. We went to the
uh
courthouse for the wedding, and then we went to the casino, which had a steak
Mhm.
restaurant.
Oh, because the thing is, you mentioned that your wedding dress was from Torrid. My wedding dress was from Torrid. It was in clearance. Okay, it was clearance. It was $50, and I'm very proud of that freaking buy. And then, mind you, my wedding was on a Wednesday because I wanted that date, the 7th, 14, 21, the three sevens, right? So basically our wedding reception was a steak
Oh
restaurant
my
on a
god.
Saturday.
Are you serious?
Halo, I told you we were twins, okay?
Yeah, that's
I,
crazy.
I told you we were twins.
Wow.
Like steak restaurant. I'm like,
Same place for the dress. Same type of restaurant. Holy crap.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I was looking at Torrid's website, and Torrid has like cocktail dresses, but I didn't realize they also sell like actual wedding dresses. So did you get
yes,
cocktail dresses or wedding dresses?
no, mine was an actual wedding dress. And it was if I'm not mistaken, like the regular price for it was like 300 and something. I shop clearance, girl. I do not pay full price for I'm sorry, for anything. So so when I went in, I was like, okay, I'm clearing, clearance, clearance, clearance. I see that dress and I'm like, um, I like this dress. Now, mind you, I don't like tube tops or anything like that because I like to cover myself. But it was like a strapless dress, and I fell in love with the lace, so I got it. And then it was after a while that I was like, hey, to my now husband, like, I got my wedding dress, and he's like, what? Because it was an impulse buy. I was like, I got it. So yeah, it was an impulse dress. I bought it like a year before the actual wedding took place. So
So I just
Bold.
my dress wasn't actually a wedding dress, but it was a really nice long flowy dress that had um a design of blue herons on it and flowers. So I mean, it could easily pass as a wedding dress, and it was definitely
yeah.
something that I never would have worn myself.
Althea, you don't strike me as the dress type.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
You strike me as the type of person who'd be resentful they have to get a wedding dress.
This is why I didn't get a wedding dress, because I would have been resentful. I did as much as I could. That was my compromise. I did what I could. Now about our jobs. I'm a delivery driver, as I mentioned. I work for a small family-run restaurant. I have been doing this job this time around since March of 2021. But I originally started working for this company back in October of 2019. They knew when I picked the job up, they knew that I was going to have surgery in November, and they were cool with that. I only had to take 10 days off. But then that was the year that I went in for that emergency surgery where I had my toe amputated. I
Your
lost
toe amputated?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
I had
You're saying so nonchalantly. I just had my toe amputated.
Well, that's because I don't care that it's gone. It's better that it's gone. I don't have arthritis there anymore because it's gone. I don't miss it.
Okay.
I don't miss my toe. I don't miss my toe. But it got an infection in the bone, and
oh wow.
So they decided to go just aggressively on it and just take the whole thing. I had to take the entire month of January off of work, and then I was back in February. I only took 1 month, and I was back to work. But then, COVID hit and everything. I lost my job March of 2020, and I couldn't really find a replacement, nothing that I really wanted to do. Then March 2021 comes around. I had just gotten a tattoo of my ferrets, and
Aww.
yeah, I love my tattoo. I got it. It looks really good. I'll have to get a picture for you guys later. But I had just gotten my tattoo of my ferrets and some paw prints of theirs, and I get a call from my boss, or no, it was a text. Sorry, and my boss is like, "Hi." I'm like thinking, "Oh, is this what I think it is? Is this what I think it is?" I'm getting myself all hyped up already. I look at my husband. I'm like, I just got a text from my boss at work. He goes, "Are you about to get your job back?" That was his first comment. And I'm like, "Hi, yeah, what's up?" And he goes, "Would you be interested in coming back to work?" And I'm like, hell yes. This is the best job I've ever had in my life. I want this job back. So, as of March 2021, I started my job again, and I've been doing it ever since then. So, we're at a year and a half later. Really, I like my job. Sometimes it's not so great. Like when you've got no tippers or people that are just raging Karens, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. So anyway, obviously don't give out too many details about your jobs, but what do you do, Halo?
Yeah, so I guess the easiest way to describe my job is I've done a bunch of different things in the past, but I've always kind of worked in tech. So I've been a developer. I was a designer for a while. Then I was a user experience researcher for a while at a big telecom, and now I work at a tech company, helping make their apps accessible for people with disabilities. So consulting with designers and engineers on how to make apps work for people with disabilities. People are blind or deaf or hard of hearing. So that's what I do. I'm technically a
Oh,
program
that's cool.
manager, but that's the program I manage.
All right, and what about you, Yori?
I'm a secretary for the guidance department at a middle school. So, yeah,
Originally,
I
your
see.
job was only on a temporary basis, if I recall.
It was on a temporary basis, but the lady that was there took like an FMLA type thing. So she was supposed to be out for like a year and a half. She left August 2019. She was supposed to be back after the school year ended. So my husband's coworker said, "Hey, why doesn't she apply to that position? It's temporary, but it's only 5 minutes away from your home." So he was like, "Okay, I'll let her know." I interviewed, got the job. But the interesting thing was that I got the job on October. By January, we came back to after Christmas break and such. And we saw her, the person I was basically covering for, walk into the office, and one of the secretaries was like, "That's her." I was like, "Who's her?" And she said, "That's the person you're covering for." And I'm like, "What?" So she tried to get her job back way before what the FMLA was. So the district said to her, "Well, you have to wait 2 weeks." Obviously, 2 weeks don't notice for me. So they told her, "Well, you have to wait 2 weeks. You can't just come in here and say, 'Hey, I'm gonna start working.'" And 2 weeks, I ended up those 2 weeks trying to get everything cleaned up for her. I changed everything on because I handle the records for the students at the school. So I put everything like spotless. Like I made a new system. It was super easy. Like everybody was like raging about how easy it was to find all the records for all the students that were in there. Um and then those 2 weeks passed and gone. She's not back. And I'm like, is she coming back? What do I have to do? Like the school didn't want me to go, so they were actually giving me a paraprofessional job to like so that they wouldn't lose me. So I ended up staying and I'm like, is she coming back or not? 2 more weeks pass and then the lady comes in and goes to the principal and basically was like, okay, hey, you're staying because she just quit." So I was like, what? So I stayed permanently after that. So it was kind of funny.
What animals do you have, Halo?
Cats. Um, they're named Carmi and Cosmo. I didn't actually name them. Maybe this shows just how uncreative I am. That was the name that the Humane Society we adopted them from had given them, and I really liked them. So I just really liked the names they already had, so I just kept them.
When we got Tucker from the Humane Society, his name was Dorito.
His name was
His
Rito.
name was what?
Dorito, like
Dorito. That's
What?
Animals have nicknames? Because our cats have nicknames.
We fondly call Chloe like Chloe Doey, you know. Obviously you already know what we call Tucker when he's naughty. And Bob is more Bobbity Boo or Bobbert.
Oh, Robert, that's cute.
Yeah, so
Woo!
those are the kinds of the nicknames that we have. And Yori, you're the only one of us that doesn't have a pet.
I don't have one, but mostly I did have my dogs. Like, Yo-Yo was the first one. Baby, Kenji, and Vincent were my old pets.
Oh, I remember Vincent. What happened to him?
Oh yeah, he passed. He died because of nervous, like it was like it's something to do with the nervous system.
Was it Parvo?
Like basically, I think so. I was just like the vet told me like they've never seen such an advanced case like his. So because it was like out of nowhere, like literally, I never saw any symptoms whatsoever until like one day he started acting kind of weird, and the next day I took him to the vet, and he's like, he should have been suffering for a while. I'm like, no, we were playing with him last week, like normal. And he was like, what in the world? And we had to put him down. It sucked.
Like it
um,
advanced really fast, like faster than normal.
yeah, like the vet was like, what the basically in his mind I could see his face like what the fudge, but like
What's your favorite video game, guys?
Tricky
mm,
question.
dang it.
I'll go. I mean, this is actually pretty easy for me. It's definitely Final Fantasy VII. It's been Final Fantasy VII since I played it. I actually played it pretty late. I think I played it in probably around 2002 or 2003. I think it came out in 1997. And I never played. I think the only Final Fantasy game. No, I don't think I had ever played a Final Fantasy game before, not even on NES.
Oh
And
really?
so, yeah, and I was like, I want to
Ooh.
get into Final Fantasy. And so I asked
Mhm.
people in my friend group at school, like, what game should I play if I want to get into Final Fantasy? And they were all like, Final Fantasy
Oh,
7. You have
7.
to play
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7. And to this day, there's only a couple of Final Fantasy games I played that I actually liked. Like, I played Final Fantasy 7, I loved it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to play Final Fantasy 8. And I hated Final Fantasy 8.
Oh
And then,
really?
yeah, I did not like Final Fantasy 7, 8. And then I played Final Fantasy 9, I liked it. Final Fantasy 10 was good. But Final Fantasy 7, maybe it's because it was the first Final Fantasy game I ever played.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's just because it has a really good storyline and likable characters, and like it's just really intriguing as you're unraveling the story. Um,
Yeah.
it's definitely my favorite. My
Oh,
favorite
that's so cool.
Okay,
game.
Yori,
So
what's yours?
Oh god. I think it would be like I have so many games obviously, but I guess the one that I've replayed basically constantly, which would be my favorite, maybe, um, would be Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. And
That is a
it's
good
because
one.
I mean I just hello, it's Ezio Auditore da Firenze. I love him. Okay, since Assassin's Creed 2, I follow him to Brotherhood. I follow him through Revelations. He's like my baby. Just saying. And his voice, oh my god. So, and yeah, that's like for me, it's gonna be him.
If I were to just go with my mind twin here, I'd say Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but that's why I'm going to differ and go with Resident Evil 5. And
You
Halo,
do like Resident Evil 5 a lot.
Oh yes, yeah. She knows Resident Evil 5 like the back of her hand. Like she told me like, here you go, this is where you go. Okay, and I'm like following her as Chris because she doesn't let me play as Sheva at all.
I didn't let Halo play as Sheva either.
No, she
See, I
didn't.
knew it. And you were with the freaking and you were with the Red Riding Hood costume.
Yep.
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 See?
Yep. So I'm going with Resident Evil 5 as my favorite. But I mean, it's a good solid game. I
Yes.
do like the game because it's straightforward, it's not overly complicated, and
Mm-hmm.
you have all of the different difficulties that you can do if you want the challenge. I mean, the nightmare mode or their hardest difficulty is absolutely a freaking nightmare. Man, the first time I played, okay, so to give a little background, the first time I played Resident Evil 5 was with my, at that time, boyfriend, Shane. He's definitely a longtime ex. We've not been together in almost
Yeah.
10 years at this point.
Yeah, I remember saying. Like
But we played Resident Evil 5, and because he had a PS3, I didn't have one at that time. And so he introduced me to the game, and so he and I sat there and we played till our heart's content. He let me be Sheva because, obviously he wanted to be Chris, but he had the fairy tale outfit, so that was how I was introduced as Sheva. And
uh-huh.
so I started playing with him on that. He knew where some of the locations were for stuff. He didn't know where all of the emblems were. He didn't know where all of the gems were. I started learning that stuff so that I could help him with his profile so he could get all of the guns and stuff. And I remember when we were playing through it, we had gotten all the way through almost the impossible levels. We were going through the hardest difficulty of the game, but we could not get through Nadesu, the RE5 version of El Gigante Halo. The big giant one that you remember that we had to fight from the tank or from the vehicle.
Yeah.
So, we could not get through it on the nightmare mode. We could not. It didn't matter how many times. We probably tried that level close to 2 hours, and we could not get through it. But I was absolutely determined to. So when he went out to do some chores and stuff around the house, I took up the mantle and I just started going at it. It took me about 20 more minutes, maybe another 10 tries or something like that, give or take. And finally I came out to him and I'm like, I did it. He goes, no way. I showed him. I did it. No way. I'm like, yep. He promptly had me take him over to his friend's house so I could do it for his profile on Nightmare Mode because neither of them could do it. And his friend was just as impressed with me.
So you're like in your face.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I literally did something that true grown-ass adults couldn't do. So I finished that, and then he and I were able to finish the rest of the game, and I got all of his guns and all of that stuff. But at that time, I still didn't have a PS3. And I wouldn't have a PS3 until a year later when I went back to school and I got some really sizable grant money. And loans as well. I used loans to help pay for it. But I rationalized getting the consoles as this is how I de-stress, and school is definitely a stressor. So,
oh yeah.
So I started playing the game on, I think at that time I got it on the Xbox 360 so that I could play it with you.
Yes, you did.
And so I got on the Xbox 360, and by that point, I pretty much memorized it, and I had enough of the game memorized that I could remember where all of the emblems were. I could remember where almost all of the gems were. But every once in a while, I'll still learn a new location of a gem. that I didn't know before. Every once in a while. Although I'm pretty sure I've got them almost all nailed down by now.
You know
Oh,
that
yeah.
you know, like, where they're at, like, when they're hidden underwater and you can't see them?
Those ones I learned from Shane. He knew those ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
So when we first went and started playing them, he took me through the water and grabbed those ones. And I'm like, I never would have figured that out on my own. But after
Yeah.
that, after I first found those ones in the water, that's when I started looking everywhere for them, because I figure if there are some gems that are that obscure in water all the way out here, I check everywhere now. That was the game that taught me to check everywhere that you might not think to look.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. Like, this is why I very rarely platinum games, because I always miss stuff. And it's like, sometimes I feel like it's so obvious I should have found it. But I always miss stuff.
I'm not like obsessed with getting like platinums like my husband. Like all the games that my husband buy, he has to get the platinums for it or whatever. But like my first platinum game was actually Final Fantasy 15, and my second one was Uncharted 4. So those are like the most I'm proud of, because I was like, I love those games as well so much. I hated the ending of Final Fantasy 15. Bullshit ending. But
my first
Yeah.
my first full platinum was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
Too.
my first was Fallout 4.
I should get Assassin's Creed.